Consider this your passport to the wonderful and quite unpredictable world of books.
Hey, man. You ever just get tired of being where you are, Adrian?
No, I kind of like it here. I mean, the ways are new.
I mean in life, man.
Hello, fellow YouTube book lovers. This is Bo, and this is actually my first book review. I decided to review this book right here, Ready Player One. So Ready Player One is a sci-fi novel about a futuristic society in the year 2045, and they've become absolutely obsessed with this virtual reality world called the Oasis. Now, the Oasis is a virtual reality world created by a man named James Halliday, who on his deathbed said that he would give his entire multi-billion-dollar fortune to whoever could find an Easter egg that he had planted somewhere inside the universe of the Oasis. Now, the Oasis is a virtual reality universe where you can literally access anything. You can go to school in virtual reality, you can play video games, you can play arcade games, you can visit different worlds and different continents, you can go to the library in the Oasis that has every book ever printed by man. It's just, you can do anything you want in the Oasis, you can be anybody you want. Now, the interesting part about James Halliday hiding an Easter egg somewhere inside the Oasis was James was obsessed with everything 1980s pop culture. He was a teenager in the 1980s, and so he loved the movies, the music, the video games that the 1980s provided. So he created this almanac that gave clues as to where the Easter egg is, and they all revolve around 1980s pop culture, which was his obsession. So that's the fascinating part about this book, is that it's about a society in the future that's completely obsessed and enraptured by pop culture revolution of the past. So everybody in the year 2045 now is completely obsessed with everything 1980s. And that's what's fun about this book, is that it's a futuristic society in a futuristic world, in a futuristic universe, where they're discovering and learning and obsessing over and memorizing elements of the past that you as the reader are familiar with. And so now everybody in the year 2045 is obsessed with everything 1980s because they want to familiarize themselves so well with 1980s pop culture that they can find the clues or recognize the clues when they're presented inside the Oasis, so that they can find the Easter egg and have access to James Halliday's multi-billion-dollar fortune. Thus enters our protagonist, Wade Watts. So Wade is an 18-year-old kid living in his aunt's trailer, and he has become an egg hunter, what's referred to in the book as gunters. So he's a gunter in the book, and that's kind of what the story revolves around. As a book, it was super fun to read. It had adventure, it had romance, it had action, it had nostalgia, it had trivia. It's a really great time for anybody who has any sort of emotional attachment to 1980s pop culture. I finished the book about 2 weeks ago. I wanted to read it before the movie came out, and before I even watched the trailer, I wanted to read this book so as to keep intact the full range of imaginative sovereignty while reading about these characters and about this world and about this universe. So since finishing the book, I've watched all the Mad Max movies, all the Indiana Jones movies, all the Back to the Future movies. I've started listening to 80s rock and roll music again. I looked up videos on YouTube of old Atari games I used to play as a kid. This book titillated my inner geek like it's never been titillated before. And I've titillated it. In short, I had a great time reading this book. I don't have a rating system for books. I don't even know if there should be a rating system for books, since they're all so different depending on the genre and depending on the author and depending on the intent and depending on the audience. All I can say is that I would definitely recommend this book to anybody who enjoys imagination, who enjoys adventure, who enjoys sci-fi, who enjoys anything 1980s. If you grew up in the 80s, or you had an older sibling in the 80s, or you had VHS videotapes of movies from the 80s, you're probably gonna enjoy and appreciate at least some of this book. Anyway, that's my review of Ready Player One. Let me know what you thought of the book in the comments section below. Let me know what your favorite part of the book was. Let me know what your least favorite part of the book was. And let me know what you think about the movie that's going to be coming out, or if you're watching this after the movie has already been released, let me know what you thought of the movie in comparison to the book. I'm interested, I want to hear, and with that, I am out.